Oh, there we go. We're on. Okay. I will call to order a meeting of the trustees of trust funds for Thursday, December 14th. And welcome, everyone. We'll start with a roll call of those present. Peter?
Yes, present.
And via Zoom, Dana?
I'm present.
And the chair is present. Next, we have the minutes of our last meeting on November 16th. We'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes and accept any changes or corrections.
I move approval.
Second.
Any corrections, additions, deletions? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call on that as well. All in favor? Peter?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay. So next item is that indoor pool trust that we approved last month, the form of last month. And as Suzanne Woodland's memo indicates, the city council considered it and approved it as to form and authorized Karen to sign, Karen, the city manager, to sign it. She has done so. You have the original, right, Judy?
I do.
Okay. There is one little change that was made, I guess, just before the city council meeting, and it's just a site reference. On page 4, at the end of paragraph 4, it refers to obligations of the city such as those described in paragraph 2. That's correcting what was in the original, which was described in paragraph 1C. And the reason for that is that 1C came from an earlier draft of the agreement when paragraph 1 had A, B, and C, and that paragraph C became paragraph 2 under the final draft. I suggest that we revote the approval of this agreement with that change. It's a minor one. I don't know if we need to, but just to keep it clear for the record.
Was this the
I move
misspelling?
approval.
Not a misspelling. It's the,
Okay, it sounded like there was a misspelling, but
well, I think they referred to it as correction of a typographical error.
well, okay.
So the typographical error is 1A and 1C instead of 2.
All right.
Yeah, I'll move approval.
Okay?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none. We'll call the roll call again. Start with you, Dana.
I vote yes.
Peter?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. So-
What is the logistics of me getting this signed?
All right,
Should
so-
I print it out and mail it to you, Judy, or?
Yeah, so I think Peter and I will sign the original, and all you need to do is print out the page with your signature on it and mail that to Judy.
Yep.
When she receives it, she'll combine it with our signature page and give it to the city manager so they can make the transfer of funds in this year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so if you could do that today, Dana, if you have a chance, because, again, we want to do it before year end.
Yeah, no-
Okay.
no problem.
All right, thank you.
No guarantee on the mail, though.
I know.
You'll witness it, Judy? You'll witness it for both of us? Okay. So the next item on the agenda is the TD Wealth Management reports. They were good ones this month.
Well,
Or
it'll be
last
even
month.
better in December after yesterday.
I'm hoping so. Of course, the total-
Yesterday was a good day, Peter?
Yesterday was a great day.
Was it?
500
I didn't see it
points.
yesterday.
Although it's only the 14th, so. Did you do some additional ones? Your
I
report?
do, I have.
Okay.
I printed out a couple, if you want one. Do you need one, or you?
Yeah, no, I have that, but usually you have your own report as well.
I don't have those today.
Don't have that? Okay.
Sorry, yeah.
All right. Any questions or observations you'd like to make concerning these numbers? Including the fact that we're up almost 14% for the year.
How come they have November 23rd monthly in the next to last column?
2023,
November of '23.
November
The
2023.
year 23, yeah.
Okay. I won't focus on the typo on November.
Yeah. What's a November to you?
We accept their report.
Okay. Do we hear a second to that?
Second, sorry.
It's all right. Any further discussion? Okay, I'll call the roll call again. Peter?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. So are we at our all-time high at this point, or real close to it?
Real close to it,
Like within like 200?
yeah. Yeah.
Boy,
I
we're
think it
good.
all has to do with the leadership of the committee.
I was just saying, boy, we're good.
Thank you, Bill Mortimer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
All right. Any, Karen and Valerie will be here at 8, so
Yeah.
we're going to have a little gap in time.
The Mortimer, and Jay.
Yeah, so I was going to say, so Judy's going to give us an update on the status of the community scholarship and the Mortimer Scholarship non-judicial settlement agreements.
Yeah, the last I've heard that is that they have been sent to the Attorney General's for their final signatures, and we should be getting them back shortly. So hopefully, once we do, we can finally put those to bed, because it's been a little while.
Yeah, they've been signed by the school superintendent, so
Yes.
Yeah.
it's just the director of the charitable trust.
Yep.
So we'll be able to include the Mortimer money when we have our list of available
Correct.
funds in January.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
That will,
Just as we reminded Dana that we need to, before the end of the year, maybe we could advise the Attorney General that we'd like
Yeah.
it signed.
I can follow up, no problem.
okay.
Yep.
All right, anything else in that vein?
I'm aware of. I have a couple of scholarship checks, if you'd like to sign those.
Yeah?
Sure. And for Dana's benefit, I would also, not Dana, for your benefit, Peter, because Dana's going to handle this, but I was contacted a couple weeks ago about a potential donor who is a Portsmouth High School grad from the 1960s or something, who is
69,
it 59 or 69?
69.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who is in the process of doing his estate planning and wants to do something for the high school for scholarships. And they had set up a conference call with the donor and his attorney, and Bryn Sullivan, not Sullivan anymore, what's her name?
Brittany, right?
Yeah, it's Brittany and, oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Brittany.
yeah. All right, well, it's set up, and it's set up in a couple weeks, and at a time I couldn't make, they asked me if I would sit in on the call. And so I asked Dana if he could do that, and he's going to take care of that, and hopefully we'll have another generous scholarship,
Good.
although it might not be available until he passes away, but still. So I guess the word's getting out.
So it's $25,000 for a named scholarship.
That's
Correct.
right. Yeah. Do you want me to send you our scholarship policy thing again, or do you have that?
I have it, but but just in case, send it, if you
Okay.
don't mind.
I'll send that out to you today or tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, so we have, well, you can have a named perpetual one. That requires a minimum of $25,000, and they've got 3 years to raise that money. Or you could have a named sunshine or sunset
Sunset,
one,
yeah.
which, as long as you have a minimum, I think it's like $1,000 or something.
I thought it was like 10, but I could be wrong, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, in terms of, there has to be a certain amount given, not just the principal, not just the interest on it, but a dollar figure that will spend it down.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
or they can just put it into one of the community funds if he's interested. Bunch of.
So I have
Right.
3 scholarship checks, and the 4th check is made out to Abila, which is our financial software. This is our annual renewal. It went up $100. I mean, they're very reasonable, and the software is very good. I find it really useful for the scholarships and stuff, so this is just the annual renewal. Oh.
It's almost like somebody has to answer the phone or something.
Let's look at it.
That's a weird sound.
It sounds like it's underwater. Here he is. Nope.
All these really odd numbers, huh?
Yeah.
Is that because they're splitting a scholarship among more than one student?
Yeah. Yep, there he is. Yeah, I don't know what happened, Kevin.
It's odd.
Yeah, I'm back. Technological glitch.
Here's the scholarship ones, too. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anything else for us, Judy?
That's it from my side. I'll be bringing in the scholarship stuff next meeting for.
What's that?
I said I will be bringing in
In
scholarships.
January, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you want to discuss, Peter?
No?
Any projects you guys want to do next year while we're sitting here contemplating our navels? I think just thinking out loud on the Mortimer, I think the Mortimer scholarship has to go to a Portsmouth High School grads, right? Both of the scholarship funds?
Yes.
Yeah.
So one thing we ought to, separate from that, to do, I think, is to reach out to Brittany and her people, just to remind them that they need to get the notice of the amount of the scholarships and stuff out to non-Portsmouth High School
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
I don't, we didn't really, it was 2 years ago that we saw what they did, but we haven't followed up on that.
Yep.
Well, it's interesting, because I think a lot of them say Portsmouth High School graduate, which doesn't also mean that they're Portsmouth residents.
Right,
Could be Newcastle, Rye, Greenland, Newington.
sure. Yep.
You know, if we have another one that comes in, we may want to have it say Portsmouth High School graduate, also residing within the SAU 50 towns, so that it's, spells it out that,
Yeah, most of the scholarships don't reference the residency, though. It's really just the community ones that we set up
Yeah.
specifically to address the issue you're talking about.
So that you could target schools like Burke Academy and.
Yeah, well, right now you can do it for schools on this side of the border and
Right,
and
but that's
going
what the.
forward in the future, but,
Yes.
but if this individual wants to set it up for Portsmouth High School grads only or Portsmouth residents only or something, it's really up to him. I mean, we don't control that.
Tom, are you saying we can't give a scholarship to a Berwick student?
Right, no, so the community scholarships, right now, we can't, because this is the whole purpose for the non-judicial settlement agreement. When we set it up, we said that you didn't have to be, the candidate didn't have to be a graduate of Portsmouth High School, but has to be a
Right.
graduate of a New Hampshire accredited New Hampshire secondary school. So if you had a resident who went to Berwick, we can't give them any money for college.
or governors.
Or governors, yeah. So that, essentially, once the AG's office signs off on that non-judicial settlement agreement, we'll be able to give them wherever they went to school, as long as they're a Portsmouth resident.
But they have to be a Portsmouth resident,
That's correct.
not a resident in SAU.
That's correct.
Yep.
For
Yeah.
the community scholarships,
Right.
they've got to be a Portsmouth-based.
Yeah. Okay.
And, Judy, and will we get the proposed budget for the park?
We're just getting ready, we're just starting to work on fees and stuff right now.
Okay, I saw the ad for the dock space, that's what made me
So,
think of it.
yes, docks, lottery for the seasonal docks has opened up, and we're taking applications now, and then the lottery is January 4th or 5th or something like that, that Friday, for the 12 slips. The budget will be I'll probably be coming to you maybe in February.
Okay, so it's a calendar year, and I mean, it's a fiscal year budget,
Correct,
and we'll get the one that will start July 1st, right?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, fiscal year '25. Sounds crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it does.
Do you know how much we have in this tricentennial trust?
I don't. I know we have about 26,000 in the 400th.
Yeah.
I can go look real quick if you'd like me to.
No, I believe you
It's
gave
not-
it to us when this, it's really low amount.
It's low.
Like $5,000 or
Yeah.
something, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't much.
Yeah, it's not a lot. I don't even know if they're going to bring that up. That was an original thing that came up, but I'm not even sure they're going to even look at the tricentennial anymore.
Yeah.
But at least you have the documents anyways, so.
Have you all seen the new sculpture?
Yes, I was over there for the unveiling on Tuesday. It's impressive.
Was that over at the Bohenko?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could have been there for that.
Yeah. When you, they had to move it from its original proposed location because nobody figured out that that location was underneath the high-tension wires,
Oh,
those
yikes.
electrical wires that cross over the river, and so they moved it at a location which is actually closer to the road, but the land slants away very quickly. So when you're coming into town, you can see it, but you're missing the bottom third of it. So you don't appreciate how large it is. It's like 20 feet tall. Oh, there
Oh,
we go.
no.
Lost him again.
I feel like we're in a submarine. You did say it was stormy down there, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could try leaving the meeting and joining back into it, but I'm not really convinced.
Yeah, he did say the weather was
Oh, but
bad.
actually now it says there's not even any internet there, so that's. Which I know they're doing
Oh.
maintenance today, so I'm wondering,
Did they disconnect us?
it should be back by now, though.
Might be the work.
I don't think that that's gonna be any different, because it's really the same thing, but.
Looks like it.
Yeah, it's, I'm gonna see if I can just do a hotspot on my phone and we can use that for,
Yep, you dropped them now.
yeah. How's that not even finding? Here we go. We might just want to let him know that we're back in here. I don't know if he's trying to rejoin or not.
I'm sure he would try to rejoin,
Okay.
because we still have the city manager
That's
coming in.
true, yeah.
Yeah.
That-
There I am. Right there I go.
We're having some work done at
Thanks.
City Hall, Dana, so we're trying something different. I think we'll be okay now, so,
Okay, yeah, I keep getting kicked off.
yeah.
So to answer your question is that it's a great piece of art. You'll like it when you see it.
Yeah, good.
The best way to, in my opinion, the best way to approach it is from the water side, where you're kind of looking up a slope. And right now, they have some temporary lighting in there because the lighting that they ordered for it, it will be buried in the ground, but it hasn't showed up yet, so.
Good morning.
Sorry, we're a minute or two late.
Yeah, you got 30 seconds, no? 10,
30
9,
seconds.
8, 7.
Thanks so much.
Where would you like us?
Anywhere you want,
Anyway,
it's
what?
fine.
I'm just here because Dana's on the big board.
Morning,
Good
Dana.
Morning.
Morning.
It's always so cold
Judy.
in here.
Hi,
What
how
is
are you?
going on?
Pretty good, thanks. How are you?
Good.
So we were just telling Dana about the sculpture.
Yeah, it's so awesome, isn't it?
It is, yep.
It's just good. Thank you for being there. That was good. So it was good to have. I think we had most of the sponsors there, so that was the point, right? That was the
Yeah.
point, to have the sponsors there. So it was pretty exciting, I have to say. And afterwards for the team, pretty emotional because they've been meeting every single week for more than 2 years. I shouldn't say more than 2 years, about 2 years. And now it's done.
They gave birth. It was postpartum depression.
Right, that's exactly what it is. And they have an emotional attachment to this sculpture, their baby, and then they just walk away like, see you later. So,
Well, I think that CJ is a tremendous ambassador for that. She just was walking around and shaking hands, hugging everybody, and
Yep.
everybody felt like, you know, they were special. So, we will recognize you too.
Thank you.
Tell us what you got in mind.
So I think just to open things up, and hi, Dana. It's nice to see you again.
How are you?
I'm great. How you doing?
And for the
We are-
benefit of TV land.
Sure. Karen Conard, City Manager, here with Valerie Rochon, Managing Director of the Portsmouth NH400 LLC, Inc., something?
Inc.
Okay. I should know that by now. We're here to say that we've gotten guidance from both Judy and the New Hampshire Charitable Foundation that given the regulatory, what's the word I want? Ongoing burden of trying to keep a 501c3 alive, the best thing to do for this effort is to formally draw it to a close and to dissolve the corporation that was established, namely PNH 400 Inc. And when we do that, we will do that simultaneously or contemporaneously with recognizing all the receivables we're still taking in and all the expenses we're still acknowledging. So we're trying to bring that to a close, and I'll let Val take it from here, but what we're going to do is, at the point in time when we've ceased to exist as an organization, we anticipate there will be money left over. And the request of the trustees is, at that point in time, can we place the money somewhere within your realm? And we have a couple of ideas. So I'll stop there and turn it over to Val.
Thank you, Valerie Rochon. We have some great projects still ongoing. We need to place the Italian sculpture in the new Tom
Ballin.
Ballin's property. The
70
easement,
Maplewood.
the easement that he's given to the city in the side garden. We need to complete the Italian oral history documentary. We need to complete our education team's oral histories documentaries. And we have two books that we need to complete. One is the commemorative book, and the other is the photo book. We have over 7,000 photos taken by our volunteer photographers. I don't think we can get all of this done by December 31st. So what we want to be able to do is, at the point that what we want to know is, at the point when we are truly ready to shut down the corporation and we still have these projects out there, can we give money to the 400th Trust or the 350th Trust, whatever we're calling that, or the Public Art Trust, or perhaps any other of the trusts that are out there, and obligate them, like, to complete the documentaries, to complete the sculpture, to put money into the Public Art Trust for a second sculpture in the park, because we might have some money to be able to do that. So what we don't want to do is just, at the end, when we close, we have to give the money to all assets to the city and the city trust. We don't have any physical assets. We got rid of the last umbrella the other night at the volunteer party. So, and we also gave some stuff to the Chase Home and Crossroads House. But we will have some financial assets, and we want to make sure that the projects that we started are finished. How do we do that?
Valerie, how much do you anticipate that'll be?
I'm sorry.
How much do you anticipate will be left for completing the items that you want to complete?
I think it's too early to give you an exact amount. We're happy to come and update you as we start to get a better handle on that. I can remind this group that when Valerie started, there was approximately $36,000 in the 350th Trust. We've drawn 36,000, and we've
400th Trust.
That's the
right
400.
400
Sorry,
Trust.
let's get that clear.
Yep.
There was about 36,000. We have drawn 16, and there remains about 20.
Actually, it's 26.
Oh, well, look
Okay,
at that. Well, we don't anticipate tapping that. We anticipate leaving that alone and potentially adding to it. So to answer your question, Peter, as soon as we have a better handle on that, we'll be back with that information.
But what we're trying to figure out today is the process and the opportunities. That's what we're trying to figure out. So do we have an opportunity to put some of the money in the 400 in the Public Art Trust and obligate it? And if we do, what is the process to do so? That's what we're trying to figure out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can do that. I assume somebody's still going to take care of these items that you're talking about. Okay, so the 400th Inc. will stay in existence through the completion of those projects. And this will be just funds remaining in the corporation when it's come time to dissolve.
Correct.
Right. So I don't know what the arrangement is between the corporation and the city, but you can add to the existing trust. But if you're doing so, you're going to be doing it for the purposes of that existing trust.
Right.
And the other thing to keep in mind is with respect to the 400th anniversary trust, it specifically says the trust expires on December 31st, 2025. So,
Oh.
and at that point, it says, on expiration, all remaining funds will be dispersed by vote of the city council without limitation as to purpose. So if you've got extra money, let's say you close this all out by December of 2024.
Yeah.
And if you put money into that money, if it's not spent, and again, that trust says that it's supposed to be for programming and events. So I'm not sure if you had it in the 400th anniversary trust, you could spend it for anything
Other
like
than that.
sculptures
Right.
or books or things of that.
Isn't that programming? Does that come under our programs, our projects and programs?
I'm sorry, what?
Don't the books and the documentaries come under our projects and programs?
Well, that would be a question of interpretation.
And so who would make that interpretation?
Well, I suspect everybody sitting around this room would probably have to make. Well, again, it was originally set up for programming events. I'm not sure a sculpture would come under programming and events.
Well, it comes under the entire Little Italy celebrations umbrella that we were doing. So there were a number of projects. There was the Little Italy Carnival, which was like the primary project, as I'm sure you know. But we also had the Masquerade Ball. We also fully intended to honor the lost Italian neighborhoods. And therefore the sculpture. And the sculpture was supposed to be at the Sheraton, and the Sheraton finally said, no, we're not going to do it. So now it's in Tom Ballin's
Yep.
garden. So to me, that's part of the whole Little Italy celebrations. I mean, and we interviewed more than 28 folks who are were in the neighborhoods and were displaced, or their descendants, to capture that and archive it at the Athenaeum and the library and the Portsmouth Historic Society. So that, to me, is all part of that programming that we did for Little Italy celebrations. You could say the same. Our education team did the oral histories, and 27 or 28 of them with.
But let me, I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I appreciate your advocacy here. But you're not asking for the monies that are currently in this.
No, you're not.
Correct.
Where I'm going with the fact that this dissolves in '25, you might not have spent this money. I'm just speaking for myself, but wouldn't it make sense to create a new trust? I mean, it's pretty easy to create these. It's easier than getting a judicial settlement agreement with what your specific purpose or your general purpose would be. And you could include everything, although it sounds to me like you're probably going to have completed the books and the sculpture at 70 Maplewood and everything before you dissolve, right?
That's the hope.
That's the hope.
So
Why not just keep, excuse me, why not just keep the trust through 25 for the purposes you've outlined?
And then at that time, set up I agree with Tom, set up a new trust for completion of any
Any
work that
remaining.
needs to be done.
Is there any kind of limitation? I mean, does it all have to go into the 400th? If they have an art piece, could they
No,
separate that out?
Yeah, absolutely. I
Okay.
mean, you'll be just a donor. You'll be like any other donor who
Mm-hmm.
wants to give money to the city. I just bring it up, this one's going to expire in 2 years, right? And so I'm not sure the value of dumping it in here,
Oh, sure.
and then just the city is at, in December of '25, the city can decide it's going to go to anywhere you want.
Well,
So if you have a particular set of goals in mind, celebrating Portsmouth history and culture, whatever you want, without these limitations, you can, so it sounds like you're going to be pretty close to most of your projects. But you'll still have some monies left over.
Right.
Well, it's possible. I'm not sure that that's, again, we're not quite there yet.
Okay.
But yes, I think we might have some monies left over. Our fiscal year ends at the same of the city's, June 30th. I would like very, very much for all of this to be done by June 30th, because then we would go into another year of accounting and taxes and reports and all of that stuff, and I don't think we need to do that. So I think we will be done by June 30th of 2024. We need to be.
to be transparent, when we asked Judy if we could come before you today, we were thinking and hoping we would be able to wrap up our books, close everything by the end of January. And in learning all the pieces and parts that go with dissolving a corporation and having time and space to report accurately and correctly, that's going to take us through the fiscal year. So we were in more of a rush initially to come before you today because we were hoping to wrap things up sooner. But now that we have more time, this has become more of a global conversation. We're almost putting you on notice. We have some money. We think we're going to have some money left over. There may be some to suggest that it be programmed toward a future celebration, and who knows what those will look like in 25 or 50 years. But there will hopefully and definitely be a public art component.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to you, Dana, in our last discussion, we talked about a second sculpture, and I think this group was really supportive of that. And we have some funds that we only have, in all of the funds that we've collected, $10,000 that is absolutely obligated, and that's obligated to a local artist for a sculpture somewhere. And so we're looking to do that second sculpture, and we're looking to be able to put some additional funds into that. We just want to know if we can and what the process is. So if we wanted to put all into public art, because we can donate to a nonprofit, and if we donate it to the Public Art Trust, I'm not saying we're going to do that. I'm just saying if we did, we would just write a check, close out the checking account, and write it into the Public Art Trust. That's it. That's all we have to do. Does the city council have to be
We
involved?
could write a check out today, and we could vote to accept it. It would be deposited in whichever, any of the multitude that we have, as long as you realize that you've got to stay within the confines of the purposes of that trust.
Sure.
So if you have a particular thing you want to accomplish, then you either find the right trust, or if you got enough money to justify, you put it in a new trust. If you wanted to focus on public art, then you can use the public art.
And in the Public Art Trust, we have several projects that we have a lump sum of money, but that lump sum of money is divided and being held for certain projects, so
We could do that.
we could do that.
Okay.
So if we, for instance, wanted to continue the sculpture garden out at Bohenko Park, we could say for future sculptures at Bohenko Park, Gateway, could we do that? We could do that.
Yep.
awesome.
Perfect.
I'm not saying that we will, I'm just saying that we
So-
could.
So just understand that, so that trust is the recipient of the 1% monies that come on every public project. And under the terms of the original public art ordinance, that 1% is supposed to be spent on the site of the public project unless the city council votes otherwise. So there is some flexibility that the city council could weigh in on at some point, but there's no reason why you could, that trust was set up to accept donations from the public for public art as well. So you could earmark a contribution to go into future sculptures at Oenko Park.
Cool. I think that's what we wanted to find out.
Okay.
And I think it's important on the documentary. It was fabulous at the film festival this year, and the indication was next year, hopefully, the full documentary will be part of the film festival. It was just, I thought it was one of the nicest and best things of the film festival this year. It was great.
It was really, it was stunning and it was emotional when you saw what these people went through. So they want to do a 90-minute documentary, and it's going to cost us a few more dollars to do that. And they can't do it by December the 31st.
Right.
So,
But
there
I
we
think
are.
that would be a great one to be able to complete.
well, that's one of them. So that's great.
So at the point in time we have more information and we can give you a bit of an update, we'd like to invite ourselves back if that's okay by you.
Anytime.
Great.
You're always welcome.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. This helps us out a lot, really helps us out a lot to get this information.
Dana, today's the coldest day so far up here, so you're happy where you are.
Hey, Dana was,
Yeah, I had the weather report. Sorry.
Dana was pitching for us to have a meeting down there. What do you think?
Next time we come.
I'm in.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Take care.
All right.
Happy
Any,
holidays.
Yeah. Merry
Me too. Any old business or new business? Nobody here from the public, so,
Will we adjourn?
all right, do I hear a second?
Second.
And a roll call, Peter,
Yes.
Dana,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. All right.